Hey, welcome back in to Talk Back here on Election Day. Well, it's always a pleasure to welcome on our senior U.S. Senator, and it's our pleasure to welcome back to the show Senator Bill Cassidy. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm great, gentlemen. How are y'all?
We are doing fine. I'll start off. You have been in the news a lot here in the local news, and of course one of the big constitutional amendments that everyone is paying attention to, and probably the biggest that people are paying attention to, is this unanimous jury amendment number 2. Why do you support this, and why did you decide to go ahead and kind of put your stamp of approval on this?
Well, after the Brett Kavanaugh hearing, where the left went after Kavanaugh tremendously, trying to destroy his character, and it didn't matter that he was innocent. It just mattered they had a goal in mind. And I think it really brought home that American principle: you are innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
Now, if conservatives care about that for Brett Kavanaugh, we should care for you and me, everybody. So every other state in the union, including Arkansas, Mississippi, and Texas, requires a unanimous jury decision. Seems like we should be every other state except Oregon. Seems like we should be every other state, particularly on something that conservatives care so much about, which is innocent until proven guilty.
Right. No,
That's the first time I've heard Kavanaugh tied into this vote.
Well, let me say this. I agree with what you're saying, Senator. And the other thing about it is I think that first of all, let's just not even go with the overcrowding in jails and the amount of money that this is costing and so on and so forth. I think this is a slam dunk, and I agree that it should be approved. We were talking with Senator Bill Cassidy. Senator, obviously the biggest national news besides the midterm elections is what's going on with the migrant caravan. Obviously, President Trump ordered more troops to the south. What do you think about this situation down there?
Yeah, clearly we have to control our borders. You cannot be a functioning country that gives benefits to citizens that anybody can just kind of pour across and then kind of melt into the citizenry and perhaps qualify for those benefits. You just can't be a functioning country. And so we have to secure our border. We have to recognize as well, people are manipulating vulnerable people in Honduras and elsewhere, manipulating them so that they can take a very arduous journey. And there's firsthand reports that the folks who are organizing are putting women and children, babies, up front. And these women and children and babies are therefore the most vulnerable to any kind of crowd control, but that's better fodder for the media. So they're cynically exploiting the vulnerability of these people to take advantage of the United States. And you just, as much as you want to care for the vulnerable, and we do care for the vulnerable, you have to be able to protect your borders.
Listen, you're obviously a very intelligent person, but how did it become that controlling our borders became racism? I don't get it. I mean, if you look back and you go look at some of the great Democrat presidents of all time, JFK and so on, have talked about the importance of controlling our border. Why now has it become a racist thing?
It hasn't become racist. What has become is the rhetoric of branding that racist has been used. But Harry, I think you probably heard that audio of Harry Reid, the former Democrat who was the head of the Senate in 1993, saying how you just got to be able to control your borders, period, end of story. So the left's narrative is that Trump is a racist and that all his policies are racist, and therefore if you are of color, then you must vote against Trump. What that is telling you is that they feel vulnerable, that folks who happen to be American but who happen to be of color are seeing incredible economic progress under Trump. We got record low unemployment for Hispanics, record low unemployment for African Americans, job growth in those populations, fantastic. And so the left has to come up with something so they manufacture the racism.
But so Trump comes up with the other and says the Democrats got these people to do this. He didn't do that. I've not heard anybody say that the borders should not be controlled. You tell me where they're saying that they shouldn't be.
Oh, totally. There's an open border caucus. Absolutely, there's an open border caucus.
How big is that? How big is
that? I have no clue how big that is, Jim. But on the other hand, to deny it is to deny reality.
No.
And by the way, there has been a marked silence on the behalf of Democratic Senate candidates about this whole affair. And there is this Project Veritas, the James O'Keefe thing, where they go to Beto O'Rourke campaign workers, and they're using prepaid credit cards to send food down to the caravan.
Why shouldn't they be fed? Those people are on the move.
You can't use campaign funds for that,
they're
Jim.
hundreds of miles
That's against
away.
the law.
They're no danger to us. They're no danger.
You cannot use campaign funds for that. That is against the law. It is campaign fraud. Now, that may not bother you, but it really bothers me. And on the other hand, I'll go back to my central point, which is that there has been a real silence on the behalf of those Democratic Senate candidates as regards the need to control our border. So, you know, whether it's overt or covert, I think the left is trying to use this to discredit Trump.
But so is the right. He's making this a congressional issue, and it's not an issue.
No, well, let me say this. Apparently, something is working here because you've seen Democrats in some swing states right now who all of a sudden have changed their tune and are for border security. So must be doing something right, Jim.
They were never against it.
All right. We're talking with Senator Bill Cassidy here on Talkback. Senator, about those very midterm elections that we just alluded to, I know, of course, you're getting information probably trickling in here and there. What do you make of this? What do the Republicans hold the House? If not, how's the Senate looking? All of those things.
Well, the Senate looks like we will hold the Senate, maybe pick up a seat or two. The House, we have a lot more vulnerable seats than do the left.
Right.
So conventional wisdom is that we lose the House, which is kind of crazy. Normally, people vote their pocketbook. And again, if you look at the economy, after 8 years of being in the doldrums, we now have a record low unemployment for high school dropouts. That's how good it is. And the wage growth is disproportionately among those who are in the lower income area because there's such a competition for labor. This competition for labor driving up wages, and people are getting off the unemployment roll, going back into the workforce. Now, usually that would bode well for the party in power, but it's not so far, so we'll see. If people vote their pocketbook, I think Republicans do well.
Well, the
If people
president
vote
is
their
not
dislike,
campaigning on that, though. He's campaigning on a bogus issue of immigration when he should be talking about the economy.
Hey, Jim, for once we're going to agree, buddy. I think the president should be all about the economy.
Senator, I wish we had more time with you today. This was kind of a short visit with you as it is Election Day, and we're kind of slammed here. So please do excuse us, and we hope to have you on the next couple of weeks.
Sounds great, gentlemen. See you.
Thank you so much. Absolutely. That was Senator Bill Cassidy, and we'll be